Do you know what your worth is as a real estate agent? Can you tell a seller what your worth is? Why do sellers ask us to lower our commission? That's a question that I've always had. So I'm Danielle Shepard, and I am your host of Being Present in Real Estate, the podcast that talks about things that agents need to hear, things we need to understand and grow and do everything from a point of kindness. So let's dive into this. Why do sellers ask you to lower your commission? So I think there's a couple of theories about that, of why people ask you to lower your commission. And one of them, I think, is they don't understand what you do. We have this tendency as agents that we want to make things easier for our clients. So we don't tell them a lot of things. So they don't really understand what all goes into what we do. And of course, if you look on TV, gotta love TV, all those HGTV shows and all that, and A&E shows. And if you look at all of that, they make it look easy. We throw a party at an open house, and then we write a contract for millions of dollars, and then we just collect a paycheck. We haven't really talked to anybody, but we get money, which is one of the biggest fallacies there is. Plus, here in Central Texas, $1 million listings, a dime a dozen. We don't have those. We don't have it. So we have to know what our value is. What is the value that you as an agent brings to the table for your seller? Knowledge, education, your market experience, your market knowledge, watching that MLS that we talk about, that you just need to constantly be following what the market shifts are doing, what the market trends are doing, to where you can speak intelligently about that. And your general experience. Now, this is not saying that new agents can't explain their value. We're not saying that just because you're new and you don't have experience that you don't have as much value as someone else does. We're just saying we need to learn how to sell it. So, one of my friends, agents, he is buying a house. And in that, negotiating the deal and things like that. Well, the house did not appraise. And when it didn't appraise, he sent the amendment saying, hey, I need you to lower the price to the appraised value. And the seller came back with, now keep in mind, this is the seller, he is the buyer, but the seller came back with, you need to lower your commission. I'm like, what? No. And I got really irritated with this email that he received because he shared it with me. And I got really irritated with it because the tone from the listing agent was rude as crap. And for a listing agent to come back to you as the buyer's agent and say, hey, I'm going to need you to lower your commission, that tells me that listing agent doesn't value you. Because if the seller's like, hey, lower the commission, the listing agent could have said, well, it doesn't really work that way, But so I want to read to you something that they said because it bothered me. Uh, the seller asked, hey, will you reduce your commission to zero so we could meet this appraisal? Because their house didn't appraise like by 30 something $1,000. So they said, hey, will you reduce your commission to zero? I don't want to insult you or lose you, and I don't want the back and forth. And I don't know how y'all typically do listing agreements, where you agree to pay commission and things like that. But anyway, it kind of goes on from there. But the nerve of this agent to say, hey, to make appraisal, or to nerve of the seller to make appraisal, we're just going to give up all of the buyer's agent's commission. I have a problem with that. One, because I don't really think it was the seller not seeing the value in the buyer's agent. I think it was the seller not seeing the value in his own listing agent. Because if he would have seen the value that a real estate agent brings to the table, that wouldn't have been a question. And I'll tell you how it worked out. Well, the agent wrote him back and said, I work for my money just like you do. I can't give up my whole entire commission to make this deal work. That's not fair to me, you know. Anyway, they settled. They split it. That he dropped it a little bit, but they brought down the sales price to meet what the appraised value was. Because who's going to buy a house that doesn't appraise? I'm like, that's ridiculous. Anyway, I digress. We'll go on from there. If that seller doesn't see your value, then they are not going to be readily to pay you what you're worth. So let's talk about things that we can do for that seller to see what our value is. Let's talk about education. Okay, and I'm not talking about, ooh, you have a bachelor's degree, or ooh, you have a master's degree, or ooh, you went through whatever course. I think education and knowledge and market knowledge all go together. They all go together. So you have to know contracts, situations, problem solving. You have to know all of these things. If you don't know, that's where they see a weakness. When I first started training agents, I used to tell them, fake it till you make it, because people respond to confidence. Now, that didn't mean don't tell them the truth, and it didn't mean, you know, be, don't be truthful on everything and say things that weren't the truth, like leading people. But it means having the confidence in what you do say. Presence is everything. If you carry yourself like you know what you're talking about, and if you speak like you know what you're talking about, people will respond to that. They will believe you, good or bad. When we look at famous people in history, when they gave speeches, they could convince people, sometimes millions of people, to do what they wanted and to believe in them. That comes from confidence. So if you are in this real estate game and you are at a listing appointment and you are selling your value to these people, you have to believe that value yourself. If you don't see the value in you, then how is anybody else going to see it? So I have had people, even here recently, ask me, hey, will you lower your commission? This agent's willing to lower their commission. We're in competition with each other. Would you lower your commission? We really want to go with you, but this agent is offering to do it for 1% or more less. That's usually when I pause and I say, I completely understand. And I believe in the adage of you get what you pay for. So nothing against that agent, which I never know who it is, but nothing against that agent. But I tell my sellers, I know my value. I know what I'm worth. I know what my knowledge is worth, my expertise is worth, the marketing and all of that I put into my listing. I know what that's worth. So unfortunately, no, I can't lower my commission. Have I lost deals because of it? A couple. Have I won deals still over people who are lowering their commission? Absolutely. I present my value. I let them know, what am I going to do for you? What is my marketing plan? What is our marketing strategy plan? Like, how are you going to do it over the course of the listing? What are you going to do? What tools and tricks do I bring to the table? What social media? What am I going to do to prove my value? Well, it's not going to be taking cell phone pictures with my finger in front of, anyway. I saw a listing that I just about died. I'm like, you took a picture of the bathroom and you're in the picture. Do not take cell phone pictures of you in the bathroom in the picture. Like, come on now. Anyway, so I do that. And I have a videographer. So I have professional people that I hire. That is worth something. That shows them that I care enough about their property to take professional pictures. I'm showing them my value, and I'm showing them that I value their property and them. I'm not going to cut corners. So what you need to do is think about, why is somebody asking you to lower your commission? And then you need to figure out, what is your response? What are you worth in this transaction? What do you bring to the transaction as the seller's agent? What do you bring? What are you going to do, and what are you going to show them that means you are worth whatever percent commission you want? Commissions are negotiable. Absolutely. They are negotiable. But who gets to decide what it is? You. Sometimes your broker, depending on where you're at. But you get to decide. And you get to decide what your value is. We are often compared to, well, I often say, okay, I would never ask a doctor, hey, I really want to see you and I really appreciate that, but hey, can you discount your fee for me? I'm thinking, if I'm about to have a surgery, I'm not going to ask the surgeon to give me a discount, because I'd be afraid of what kind of discount I'd get. And because you get what you pay for. Okay, you get what you pay for. Kind of is what I've talked to you before about limited service agreements. Limited service agreements are exactly that. They're limited services. You're paying a discount to not get full service performance. And if you're a limited service agency, great. Or an agent, great. That's how you want to run your business, no problem. That's how you run it. But if you're a full service agent, why are you going to do business for limited service prices? We talked about that, even though people would not accept my commission standard or what I charge for commission, even though they said, no, we're going to go with the discount person. That's okay. My value hasn't changed. My way I run business hasn't changed. Because the minute I start chasing the money, remember what happens? Things fall apart. Because this is not a money business. This is a relationship business. And yes, we're talking about commission, but it's not commission. It's knowing your worth, knowing what you bring to the table in that transaction. Knowledge, market information. I cannot stress that enough. If you do not know what is going on in your MLS and in your MLS area, you can't speak on it. You can't guess. And Lord knows you cannot listen to the news. Just yesterday, I had a call with a potential seller. And, everywhere in the United States, the market is different. In Texas, in Central Texas, the market is different than Austin. It's different than everywhere else. Okay. Central Texas is different. Good or bad, it's different. So I'm talking to the seller the other day, or yesterday actually, and we're talking about their house. They were talking about, well, we don't know if we want to rent it or we don't know if we want to sell it. And they said, and we know the market is really bad right now. And I said, oh, where did you hear that? And she's like, oh, it is all over the news, how bad the market is. And at that point, I had to stop her. And I had to explain what our market in Central Texas is doing. I had to explain that. If you do not understand your market and your market trends and what your market is doing, whether it be a buyer's market, a seller's market, a balanced market, a shifting market, if you're not up to speed and understand that, then you can't have those intelligent conversations. So after we had this conversation, guess what happened? We're no longer renting. Now she wants to, or renting it out, now putting in property management. Now she wants to sell it because I didn't give her the doom and gloom that the whole nation of media is sending out. We are not all the same. Knowing your market, speaking from confidence, portraying your value. That is what a seller will pay for. Whatever your commission is, that's what they'll pay for. But if you don't know your value and you don't know what you bring to the table, you got to figure it out. And you need to figure it out pretty quick before your next listing appointment. So let me close this out by saying I wish you the best of luck on your next listing appointment. Speak from confidence, always speak kindly, and be present in real estate. Like and subscribe. Catch me on all of the podcast channels, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. There's a whole list that we have been picked up on. Being President in Real Estate, find us. If you can't find us, call me and I'll figure out why. But Being President in Real Estate, be kind, be present. Y'all have a great week.